Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gordon Frayne, and today we're jumping into our weekly Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market update for May 24th, 2024. Before we jump into the content, please make sure to grab your free copy of my book, The Rise of Bitcoin. It's going to be the first link in the description below, so make sure to click that link, grab your free copy. It is my gift to you. If you enjoy the content, please give us a smash on that thumbs up button as well. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon so you can get notified every time we drop a new video. We've got videos coming on the channel pretty much every single day, so you're going to want to get notified when they drop so you can hit your crypto goals. It has been a fascinating week in the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Once again, we're currently sitting at a Bitcoin price of just above 69,000 here, 69,190 US dollars. Bouncing back from a slight dip down to the 66K mark in the past 48 hours as well. But the big story of the week being Ethereum and the approval of the Ethereum spot ETF, which we will come on to in a few moments. But Ethereum is up over 21% on the week, currently sitting at $3,739. Bitcoin itself is up about 4% on the week. We have BNB up about 4% and Solana up about 2% as well, week over week. So lots of positive sentiment in the entire space over the past few days after we saw the approval of the spot Ethereum ETF just yesterday on May 23rd. If we look at the overall crypto market cap for the past week, we've gone from about 2.41 trillion up to about 2.55 trillion today. So ever so slight growth week over week in terms of overall market cap, with lots of funds flowing into Bitcoin and Ethereum as a result of that approval yesterday. But the spot ETFs have been picking up again for the past 2 weeks, and we'll look at some of the data on that in a few minutes as well. But in terms of the top gainers and losers from the past 7 days, again, we're looking at meme coins continuing to hold strong with the meme coin narrative. We've got Bonk and Pepe both up over 37% on the week. And then interestingly, on the back of the Ethereum ETF approval, we're seeing a lot of the Ethereum ecosystem tokens doing extremely well over the past week as well. So the likes of Pendle, Lido, Uniswap, all up over 20-30%. Ethereum itself up over 20%. We've got Athena up almost 19%. We've got Ondo, real world assets, up over 16.78%. Even Ethereum Classic is up 12%. Arbitrum and Aave up about 10-11%. Two more big players in the Ethereum ecosystem. So lots of growth going on, particularly with coins related to the Ethereum ecosystem. Dogecoin's had another good week, up over 7%. Chainlink's also up over 7%. Monero bouncing back up over 6%. Avalanche up 4%. Bitcoin itself up just under 4%. Then we've got Floki and Decentraland up about 3-4% each as well. We do have a number of losers over the past week as well, though. Arweave is down about 12%. Akash Network down about 10%. Ordi down about 8%. WorldCoin down 8%. Celestia down 7%. We've got Jupiter down 5%, Hedera down 5% as well, Quant and ICP down about 4 or 5% as well, Cardano down about 5%, Chronos down 3%, Sui down 3%, and Shiba Inu down about 2% as well. So a bit of a mixed bag in the week overall, definitely seeing Ethereum ecosystem tokens outperforming the rest of the market on the back of that Ethereum spot ETF approval yesterday. Interestingly, we haven't seen a big pump since the approval, but the 20% pump came in the 5 to 6 days before the approval, given the speculation and the increased approval rating coming from a number of analysts in the space. Jumping over to the Bitcoin dominance chart here, we have seen a bit of a dip over the past week or so. Nothing too major, but going from about 55.91% down to 54.58%. So down about 1% to 1.5% in terms of overall dominance, with a red candle during this past week. So again, we still are very much in a strong uptrend for Bitcoin dominance. So definitely not altcoin season just yet, which brings us onto our altcoin season index. And even though alts have been performing well, we can see that it is still a Bitcoin strong month versus altcoins. This chart needs to go above the 50% level for it to be considered an altcoin month. So still a Bitcoin strong month. And if we do go down to the top 50 performers, we'll refresh the page because that's not working, and go to the monthly view. We're not getting any data in our chart here, so we will come back to this at a later time. But definitely more of a Bitcoin strong month, considering the dominance trajectory and the trend we're still seeing. Really since all of 2023, we've seen significant strong up moves continued into 2024 with Bitcoin dominance overall. Remains to be seen when we will break to the downside for a potential altcoin season breakout, but I would guess there's probably still another couple of months for Bitcoin dominance to trend upwards or sideways at worst before we break into a full-blown alt season. Moving over to the Bitcoin stock to flow model. Again, we haven't looked at this in a few weeks, but just checking in to see how obviously we have turned back red, given that we have just come through the most recent Bitcoin halving event here at the end of April 2024, which means we are 1,400 odd days out from the next halving event to take place. Interestingly, we are still trending along the Bitcoin stock to flow model. Arguments to be made here whether we will stick and hold to the stock to flow model for this cycle. But given the current prices just around $70,000, we are pretty much right on line for it. Whether we can reach these 100,000 prices before the end of the year obviously remains to be seen. A lot of bullish sentiment around the continuous inflows with the ETFs, which a lot of people are making the argument for that they will genuinely help to push the price target for Bitcoin to 100,000 and beyond before the end of 2024. So again, this remains to be seen. If we trend on the Bitcoin stock to flow model, it estimates that we would hit the 100,000 US dollar mark by September of this year, and then potentially getting upwards of 200, 300, even upwards of 400,000 before we see the top of this cycle in the middle to end of 2025. So always interesting to keep an eye on. We are still tracking on it, and we are still keeping an eye on everything to do with Bitcoin stock to flow. Jumping over to the narratives for month-to-date performance in May. We're obviously coming into the last week of May thus far, but again, the narrative around artificial intelligence, liquid staking derivatives, and memes are the three biggest narratives of the month so far. No real surprises there, given the fact that AI and memes have outperformed everything over the past 3 to 6 months. Liquid staking derivatives probably getting a bit of a bump thanks to the Ethereum ecosystem and the performance of the ETH ecosystem over the past week or so. We've also got oracles, account abstractions, identity, real-world assets, and decentralized physical infrastructure in the mix here. But it's always good to keep an eye on the different narratives that are outperforming, as the assets that are in your portfolio will perform based on which narratives are taking up the mind share at various mini cycles throughout the bull market. So keep an eye on these, and you can come over to the Doom dashboard to do that. Jumping over to the Bitcoin spot ETF tracker here on Apollo, we can see that we have had significant amounts of inflows over the past 2 weeks, picking up again after those lulls in the month of April and the first week or two in May. We're currently seeing BlackRock sitting at 284,000, just about to flip Grayscale here in terms of being the biggest overall spot Bitcoin ETF issuer. This is due to happen in any day now, I would say, given the amount of flows that we're seeing into BlackRock. And Grayscale were purchasing the past few days, but they had a bit of an outflow yesterday, I believe. We've then got Fidelity with 160,000 Bitcoin, ARK and Bitwise in the middle of the table here with 48,000 and 36,000 respectively, and then VanEck, Valkyrie, Invesco, Franklin Templeton, WisdomTree, and Hashdex on the lower end of things. However, all the spot Bitcoin ETFs, excluding Grayscale, have now accumulated over 563,000 Bitcoin in about 91, 92 trading days since January of this year, closing in on 3% of the entire Bitcoin supply, which has been purchased by these 9 spot ETFs in only 90 trading days. That is still a crazy number, and they're still averaging more than 6,000 Bitcoin per day since the ETFs began. If we look over to the flows for yesterday, we can see positive flows once again with BlackRock, Fidelity, and a number of the spot Bitcoin ETF issuers having positive inflows. Again, you'll notice on the trend here and on the chart, we have seen for the past 2 weeks, again, significant uptick in the inflows and the purchasing of Bitcoin by the spot Bitcoin ETFs. We did see these lulls and outflows in the month of April. We can see here from April 15th through the end of the month, and even in the first week or two of May, we saw significant outflows. But this trend is going back to the upside, having kind of hit a bottom around 207,000 Bitcoin. We're back up now to over 232,000 Bitcoin in total flows. So positive movements being made by all of the spot Bitcoin ETF issuers. Lots of healthy inflows over the past 2 weeks. Every single day has been net positive, and we're seeing this trend moving upwards once again. Jumping over to the Bitcoin low multiple, we can see the different trends here once again for the previous 3 cycles or the previous 3 eras. We've obviously come through the day 0 here, which represents the Bitcoin halving event, which happened at the end of April. This particular era or cycle is represented by the red line on the chart here. We can see the previous 3 eras and the price performance here in the lead up to and aftermath of the Bitcoin halving event. And once again, general market sentiment is that we are going to be seeing exponential returns over the next 12 to 18 months, which would align with each of the 3 previous cycles or eras. The aftermath of the 2012 cycle here in blue, the aftermath of the 2016 halving event in orange, and the aftermath of the 2020 halving event in green. So obviously we put in those all-time highs for Bitcoin before the halving event this time around, which was a first for Bitcoin. We have had a bit of a correction over the past 4 to 6 weeks before Bitcoin made this recent run from about 60K back up to 69K. So lots of positive movements being made here. And again, past performance is not always indicative of future price potential, but if the trend is anything to go by, we will be seeing plenty of upside over the next 12 to 15 months. Jumping over to real world assets, and once again, we've seen increases here for tokenized treasuries being added to these various different blockchains in terms of asset tokenization for treasuries, bonds, etc. We've seen a 4% increase up to 1.377 billion here. Again, Ethereum, XLM, Solana, Polygon, and XDC making up the largest players here when it comes to tokenized treasuries on the blockchain. But again, we are bullish on the real world assets narrative over here. The entire market is set to reach over 10 trillion by the year 2030, and we're going to be seeing lots of inflows with regards to tokenized treasuries over the next few years. Finally, moving on to the biggest stories of the week. Again, Ethereum ETF approvals being the big news coming in the past 24 hours. We have seen the approval of Ethereum spot ETFs by the SEC. Again, many of the same issuers of the Bitcoin spot ETF are the ones that are going to be offering the Ethereum ETFs like BlackRock, Fidelity, etc. And again, I think overall, this is a very bullish sentiment for the entire market because Bitcoin getting approval in January obviously opened up the door for the entire crypto space. And now with Ethereum being approved as well, it really does make the inflow of capital into this space just so much easier from institutional investors, from family offices, and from treasuries for companies and even states. We were seeing with the 13F filings for all the companies that were purchasing Bitcoin and the spot Bitcoin ETF in Q1, they disclosed all those numbers over the past couple of weeks, and we're seeing the game theory kick into effect where everyone who was sitting on the sidelines is now feeling the FOMO of not having got into the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and we're seeing that uptick. So I think we're going to be seeing A lot of inflows for the Ethereum ETFs as well. I don't think it'll be quite the same volume as Bitcoin, but another asset has been approved, has gotten the seal of approval from the SEC, and we're likely to see a lot more capital inflow into the entire market as a result. And the other big story of the week being that the House in the US has passed crypto regulation bill, which now must go to the Senate. But basically, this is the Financial Innovation and Technology FIT 21 bill designed to regulate the cryptocurrency market, which would effectively take a lot of the power away from the SEC and give more oversight and power for the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, to give oversight in terms of crypto regulation in the United States. So I think the SEC has basically been probably overstepping their powers a little bit in terms of how they've been trying to act when it comes to crypto and Bitcoin regulation. So getting something else passed through here for the CFTC to give more oversight and potentially give more regulation in the space is being welcomed by a lot of people. So that is the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market update for the past week or so here on Friday, May 24th, 2024. We are sitting at a $69,000 Bitcoin, up 3% in the past 24 hours and up about 3.77% on the week. Ethereum being the big story of the week, up over 21.4%. As we can see, lots of positive sentiment with overall market cap going up, and Ethereum ETFs being approved now means that we will be seeing probably a lot more positive inflows. It's been a very net positive week for the entire industry, and lots of growth potential coming in the next few weeks and months. As always, if you enjoy the content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button on your way out the door. It would mean the world. Hit that subscribe button as well and hit the bell notification icon so you can get notified when we drop new videos. Again, if you want more updates just like this, price predictions, everything else on the channel, you can go check out all the other videos. Make sure to grab your free copy of the book, The Rise of Bitcoin. Again, it's the first link in the description below. It is my gift to you, so grab it while it's free. You won't regret it. There's lots of good info in there, and it is 100% free. As always, if you enjoyed the content, smash that thumbs up button, and we will catch you in the next one.